I see so many people saying, I have a contingency agreement. I mean, it's every single day on the Facebook groups, every day, multiple times a day. The customer, the homeowner signed this agreement. It's rock solid. And whatever events occurred to that point where they're making the post, now they're not going to do it, or they're not going to pay us the total amount, or whatever the reason is. I mean, don't get me started. The same reason I don't like door knockers is the same reason I hate the insurance process the way it is now. I think it's insane because homeowners don't like it. Contractors are constantly complaining about it. Actually, Dimitri made a video about this, about how he thinks that storm chasers are going to go away because insurance is just like done with it. They're committing fraud. Insurance companies are committing fraud. Absolutely.
Like insurance
Homeowners are,
focused roofing
it,
companies.
no, I'm saying insurance
Oh,
companies.
the
And the
insurance companies.
carriers are committing fraud. They're not paying. I have so many stories that it looks like shotguns shot this house. I mean, unbelievably damaged. The most damage I've ever seen on any house. There's thousands of holes in the vinyl siding, and they're not paying for the. I mean, it's crazy. That's insurance fraud from an insurance carrier. Then homeowners are committing insurance fraud for multiple reasons. They're like trying to obscure invoices to get the full amount and then not pay their deductible. And then obviously contractors are too. I would actually say that contractors are not maybe the third in line for that. But like it is my opinion that we all as contractors, if we would all just treat insurance work like retail work, and we would have somebody write our Xactimates just like we do at SunX, then you would have a better experience overall. The contract is between you and the homeowner, not between you and the homeowner and the insurance carrier. The contingency agreement specifically puts a third party in there for you. It's not a good situation, and it's only going to it's going to get way worse for contractors. They're going to go out of business. I think Adam Binsman, the roof strategist, made this video. Is like in Oklahoma City. He's like the average roofing contractor only lasts 11 months now. I'm
Like
like,
one season.
what? What? Not even a whole year. Why are you doing this? Why? Like, this is not a. You're not going to make money doing that anymore. Those days are gone. So that was a
I
tangent, but
agree.
I've been all on my feed about that.
Yeah, and I agree too. I think also if you do run your insurance jobs, essentially treat them like retail jobs. The only real difference being you're going to do an Xactimate instead of regular quote.
Correct.
Then you your numbers will work out correctly too. You're not going to end up with
Correct.
these like weird like if you think your close rate's 90%, it's not 90%. Like you're doing something, you're not calculating that
Yes.
correctly. But like your numbers, if you treat it the same, then the numbers will work out. And you should still differentiate. So like, and we do that in Proline, like we have for type retail versus insurance. So it will be helpful to separate those and see like what is my close rate on retail jobs, what is my close rate on insurance jobs. That is valuable for sure, and it probably will be different, but it will be comparable. Like you'll get an accurate picture of how good are you at taking something from open to closed for each of those. Um,
Yeah. It all
yeah,
comes back to knowing your numbers and like what we're talking about, knowing win rate versus ratio. Like if you just keep your systems the same for every type of job, I agree with you totally. You want to know the close rate for insurance type jobs and like straight retail jobs. You do want to know that because there are different factors in place. There are different types of homeowners and expectations. There's a third party involved that you don't want to be involved. Like retail is completely different than that. And I just think that you should run your business like, hey, we offer a service. Here's what our price is for the service. We're going to do an excellent job. You pay us. We're going to give you a 5-star experience. Please write a 5-star review. Like going to buy a cup of coffee. Like that's how it should be. All these games that we're seeing, you can't know your numbers if you change it all the time. You can't. You can't know the right numbers. You
yeah.
can't know your production numbers. You can't have a production like in the beginning of this conversation. You can't have a consistent production process if it's always changing. There's if going back to your question about on hold, like I know there's situations about that, like being on hold. I have that, but why? How could we avoid that? I can see multiple things in my business where we can avoid the on hold situations lots of times. It's
Yeah.
on us.
Well, is this? I guess that kind of goes back to my question. I'm trying to figure out whether or not it's necessary to have like an on hold status. Um, is it valuable to be able to run a report? And really, it's not just is it valuable, because I know there's value to anything. It really is like, is it something that's important for us to add in Proline for you to be able to run a report for production and be able to know what for a given period, what was the average time that things sat on hold, or what was the average time, or how, what percentage of projects did have to go on hold, versus ones that went straight into production. Are those metrics that are important enough for us to change the way that we're doing status to in Proline to provide those metrics?
I don't know the answer to that. It's not important to me. I
Not
don't.
important to you. So
Going back,
for you, you think it's completely sufficient just to be able to visually track using the stages and have like an on hold stage versus and just be able to visually distinguish
yeah,
in Proline in the pipelines.
yeah. You want it top of your mind, even if it's not top of their mind. There's so many reasons why I don't like the idea of having anything on hold in any type of business. It does not make sense. You cannot predict anything about any revenue goals, profit goals, if you have something that's on hold and your team is confused, even if the notes are all clear and all the recordings are there. So much effort whenever a customer is not ready to buy in the next 30 to 45 days. It's so
Well, there's on hold for sales and on hold for production. I'm specifically talking about like sold job. They're on.
I've encountered that before where somebody signs a contract and then we don't do the job for months. And a lot of times they'll just fizzle out, fade away. It makes no
Becomes a
sense to
lost
not
job.
actually do.
I'm
Yeah,
thinking more of scenarios like you don't have the supplier doesn't have the materials.
I mean, just leave it on a campaign. Like why does it doesn't need to be, because that's situational. It's not going to be consistent ever. If it's a supplier doesn't have the material, that is never going to be consistent for you. Even weather in the winter months, that's still not consistent because there's some guys who are in the north who are posting they're roofing in December and they never do that.
So what stage
I just
would you have those jobs in for you? Like you're not going to have an on hold stage.
um how do we have them right now? I don't remember how we have them, but I don't want them. I don't really want. They're still in actually quote sent. Some of the ones I'm talking about. Yes,
Well,
they're
then
still in quote
they're
sent.
not even sold yet
That's true.
if they're in quote sent.
I
Once
don't
they
really
go
keep them.
to
I don't
once they,
have anybody on hold anymore. I used to. I used to have people on hold forever,
so
and
if
we're like,
someone
we're never going to do these
signs
jobs.
the quote and then you go to start you want to go order materials aren't available and the supplier's
Mhm.
like, hey, like it's going to be 2 to 3 months, do you just leave them in signed quote
Yeah, and leave a
until
note and just leave a note in the
sleep out?
activity feed saying, "Hey," and then you can actually. Here's what I'd do if we knew that it was going to be 30 days. Kathleen would go in there, say, "Hey, material's not ready for 30 days," and then set a task, create a task immediately to follow up in 3 weeks.